Hi everyone, welcome to another Techie Nut review. Today we are looking at the unboxing and review of the newly released Bluboo S1. This is yet another bezeless phone inspired by the Xiaomi Mi Mix. This phone comes with a 5.5 inch 1080p display with a 2.5D curved edge, which is protected by Gorilla Glass 4. It has a mid-range MediaTek P25 processor, which in turn is backed up by 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gig of storage. We also have a 3,500 mAh battery. Camera wise, the rear camera is a dual camera, which is a 13 megapixel main camera and a 3 megapixel smaller camera, and the front camera, which is a 5 megapixel camera. This phone is 4G and it supports bands 1, 3, 8 and 20. I purchased this specific phone from GearBest with the standard delivery, which normally takes a couple of weeks from China, and it was for the sum of $159. I will put some links in the video. Okay, so before I start unboxing this phone, one thing that is straight away noticeable is that this phone has no proper packaging. We literally just have the plastic GB bag and the phone box which is inside it. Normally I would expect, especially coming all the way from China, that they'd put some bubble wrap, some cardboard, a box within a box, you know, your general kind of packaging you would expect when you order anything from Amazon. I have ordered from China in the past and generally you always do get that kind of protection. This time there was none. I am however quite lucky because with this specific order you can see that there doesn't seem to be any damage on the wrapper itself, just a little bit on the corners. But overall, if we just feel the box over, it seems to be intact. Let's go ahead and open it and see what we have inside. Okay, so as predicted, we literally only have the phone box. So that's a markdown for GearBest. Guys, come on, just put some bubble wrap, protect your products. I did take some additional insurance for a couple of pounds, but still, I wouldn't expect it to be delivered in this manner. Okay, so looking at the box, there doesn't seem to be any damage. It's in pretty good nick, so I've been very lucky on this occasion. A very simple, clean cut box, slogan on the left, model number, and the brand. This is, let's not forget, a Chinese phone, so as most Chinese phones, it's a dual SIM model. Okay, so let's open it up. Okay, so straight away we can see the phone. We'll take that out. We'll actually take the whole panel off. Feels quite heavy already, but we'll look into that in some more detail in just a few seconds. So what else do we actually have apart from the phone? We have, I assume, the charger and the charging cable. So I originally got this delivered to France, so I'd expect a European plug, and there you have a European plug. One thing to keep in mind, this phone is USB-C, so I would expect the cable that's going to fall out right now has one side which is USB and the other USB-C, and you can see that just here. One more item I forgot, which is probably that logo that was here. Not straight away noticeable, but I think what it is yet your headphone jack. This phone doesn't have a 3.5mm connector, so you have to use USB-C. Not sure how I feel about that. One thing that comes to mind, if I want to charge the phone and listen to music on my headphones, that's not going to happen. So, what do we have in here? We have the warranty card, the user guide. One good thing that you do get with a lot of Chinese phones now is you get a case with them. Okay, not the most snazzy case, but it will do. It should protect the phone. It's some kind of TPU, I would say. And then we have the all-important screen protector, which I'm hoping is tempered glass. Feels like it. Okay, so the phone itself doesn't feel too heavy actually. I'd expected it to be a little heavier, but no, it feels nice. It feels very slippery though. very slippery. So apparently it's not all metal. Looks like metal, but it's not. This is plastic around, but it's been polished in a way to make it look like metal. Straight away you can actually see bezels. I mean, don't forget this is supposed to be a bezel-less phone, so I'd only expect the bottom bezel. So let's switch it on, and that will give you probably a better idea of what these bezels look like. Okay, so straight away the phone looks really, really nice actually. I love the way it just looks nice and compact. Yes, there are bezels, but for this price point it's pretty good. I mean, don't forget the Xiaomi Mi Mix just cost a fortune. And the second version is going to cost a fortune as well. So yes, this is an imitation. It's not going to be as good, but you know, you pay what you get for. And in this case, I think you're getting quite a lot of value for money, at least from a looks perspective. The screen itself looks really bright and nice.
As I have already mentioned, the Bluboo S1 comes with a MediaTek P25 processor and 4 gigs of RAM. For comparison, I've taken my old trusty OnePlus One, which was a flagship phone admittedly a number of years ago, but so far has been a solid performer. If we look at the Antutu results, the OnePlus One and the Bluboo S1 are neck and neck, which is quite surprising considering how old the OnePlus One is. If we look at the results in more detail, we can see where the Bluboo S1 is a clear winner, and that would be for the user experience, where the result is much higher than what the OnePlus One is currently offering. On the other hand, one thing that's a bit surprising is the RAM. Even though the OnePlus One has less RAM, the score is actually double to what the Bluboo S1 can offer. This would indicate that the quality of the RAM used in the Bluboo S1 is subpar. On the Geekbench results, single core wise, the OnePlus One phone is still the better performer. However, when it comes to multi-core, thanks to a newer CPU, the Bluboo S1 pulls away. Now where it hurts for the Bluboo S1 is when we look at how it performs against newer phones. And as you can see on this screen, it's far behind. This won't have an impact on everyday usage. However, you've got to be clear that this phone is a mid-range phone and it won't be able to play all the games with the top settings, etc. I've now been using this phone for the last couple of months. So what do I really think about it? So let's look at the pros. I do still think it's got a premium looking design. I think it's well built. You know, there's no button rattle. It feels solid. The screen is clear and good quality. I think the phone is really compact thanks to the bezel-less design. And if you compare it, for instance, to my OnePlus One, it's much smaller, although it has the same size screen. And it does support OTG, which I've tested. What about the cons? Well, it is plastic, it's not metal. There are some minor screen defects. So one thing I've noticed is if you apply pressure on the screen, it will show the pressure marks. And I've tested it on 2 separate devices. Not sure really how scratch proof the screen actually is. The reason I'm saying this is even though I've been very careful, without a screen protector, there are some minor blemishes on the screen. So I would certainly recommend putting a screen protector. The official dimensions that Bluboo have provided are quite misleading, shall we say. The phone thickness is actually 8.6mm as opposed to 7.9mm. The USB-C port, and we're not going to talk about here the fact that you can't connect your earphones directly to the phone. You have to use an adapter with a USB-C port. We're actually going to talk about a defect that seems to be present in a number of Chinese phones, and that's that the port is quite deeply rooted in the phone, which means some cables will not work with this phone. The cable that is supplied with the phone will work fine. However, third-party cables may not work, so you need to ensure it's got a long connector. One thing that is very, very annoying with this phone, again, I've tested this, verified this across 2 different devices, is once you put the case on this phone, you cannot charge it. The CPU itself is pretty average. Yes, compared to my OnePlus One, it's doing okay. But in real terms, compared to what's available today, it's barely a mid-ranger. I haven't talked about so far the camera. That's simply because in everyday use, it's pretty average. I would actually say it's terrible. In terms of the sound, When you're making phone calls, etc., that's okay. The sound actually coming out of the phone, if you're playing music, watching YouTube, is average. The GPS is average at best. I've tried it a few times and it's not the greatest. The Wi-Fi works just about fine. And one last gripe I have with the phone is the fingerprint recognition. It doesn't always work, especially when your fingers are wet. I know it's not just with this phone that you may get this issue, but I just found that quite annoying. So here are my final scores. Build-in design, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, simply because of the cons I mentioned earlier. Performance, 3 out of 10. Yes, the CPU is fine, but the camera is terrible and the speaker is pretty average. Your value for money, 5 out of 10. Even below $150, I still think it's too much for what you're getting. A phone of this quality should cost a maximum of $100. So my total rating for this phone is 4.3 out of 10. Okay guys, so that wraps it up for my review of the Bluboo S1. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and see you soon for another review.